Welcome to this month's Member-to-Member Connection. I'm Mick Schwedler, ASHRAE President. We have two folks with us today. First, Steph Kunkel, who's a Senior Associate with JMT in Baltimore, and Nick Lemire, who's President and CEO of Pajot Marel and Associates in Montreal. Steph and Nick, thanks so much for joining us today. Nick, we're going to start with you. Our discussion today is about how we get involved and conquer the world, if you will, and make a difference. Can you share with us your first involvement in ASHRAE?
Yes. Well, I was a student doing a master thesis at university, and started to be just attending the monthly meeting of ASHRAE, and I was asked to be student activity chair for our chapter because the last one just resigned. And that's how I got pulled in the ASHRAE world, as a matter of fact, which was a great thing.
So it started as a student member, and while you were a student member, you were asked to become involved. Steph, how about you?
Very similar story to Nicolas, actually. I was also a student, and my mentor in college at the time, she had brainwashed me into selecting this path within my major of going on the HVAC design route. So inherently, ASHRAE was a big part of our student lives there. And she told me, it would be a great idea to go to a meeting and get involved. And soon thereafter, I was secretary and then vice president. And it just went from there, as I'm sure you guys know.
Thanks so much for sharing. Okay, so today there's a lot of talk about changing the world, making a difference is a big thing. And I'll go back to when I came out in high school and college. It was pollution, energy crisis was going on back then. Okay, Steph, can you share with us, what was your conquer the world ideal when you first started in the industry?
Oh my goodness, conquering the world. I think everybody kind of has that mindset nowadays where we want to, save the world and make a difference and really take pride in the projects that we do and initiatives that we're involved in. So, wow, at the time, that would have been about 10 years ago. And really, I just wanted to get involved any way I could. If that was within projects and developing more resilient buildings and helping the people in my local communities, or if that was getting people more involved within ASHRAE, for example, and building their networks and helping them achieve their goals and succeed in their own terms.
So Steph, you mentioned getting involved in the communities. That's a big thing today. Can you touch on that a little bit, please?
Sure, yeah. I think any volunteer efforts really speak to the heart of people themselves and also building the communities around them. It makes them feel more at home, and any kind of outreach that can happen, whether it's within ASHRAE, we can go to schools and teach them more about STEM, or even in the Young Engineers in ASHRAE community, we can engage them in different leadership roles and have them continue throughout their careers.
So now, Nick, you've been around a little bit longer.
Just a little bit.
When you first started, how did you want to go and make a difference?
Well, I was lucky again because I had a great mentor that I met at ASHRAE when I was involved. And this gentleman is just an example of professionalism and integrity. And so I was looking at him with everything he was doing, teaching, giving conferences, trying to convince as many people as possible that energy was important and making the difference was sustainability. And we were end of 90s, beginning of 2000. So it was quite early as a speech, especially in Canada, I have to say. And just looking at it, I just wanted to get in that bus and do the same thing. So I just followed his footstep and did the same thing as he did. And it kind of brought me everywhere and gave me so many nice projects, amazing projects that made a difference, I think.
Okay, so Nick, let's get down to some specifics without getting into commercial names. Can you
Yeah.
share some type of project that you've done where you really think and feel it's made a difference?
Yes. Well, I am involved in lab research kind of projects, healthcare, containment, control environment, and in early 2000, those projects, when you were talking about energy efficiency and making a difference and orienting the design for sustainability, people were not ready in that kind of environment because health was the most important thing. And so they were thinking that you couldn't do energy efficiency and sustainability without compromising health of users. So that's mainly what we did, trying to convince them we can do both. And I'm very proud of this because I think we made a huge difference in that kind of scientific projects, proving that we could be as maintaining standards for health, but doing great on heat recovery and energy efficiency.
Mhm. Steph, can you think of a project you've worked on that kind of makes you proud of making a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really early on in my career, I was involved with renovating quite a number of schools in the inner city around where I live, and visiting those schools, doing the site visits, and seeing the kids and how at the time they were uncomfortable in their environments, whether they were wearing their winter coats in their classrooms or in the gymnasium during their phys ed classes, or if they were too hot towards the summer months in their classrooms. That, to me, being able to see what our designs did for those kids and making their education go more smoothly, and how it really impacted their own education at the time, making them more comfortable, increasing that thermal comfort in their environments. They actually did a lot better in their schooling. So that was a really proud moment for me early in my career.
And those are the impacts often, we don't think about. We think about the energy, we think about the comfort, but really it's the people in the building that are affected and helped by it. Okay. So Steph, we're going to come back to you for this question. And that is, think about somebody just entering the industry, whether it's out of a tech school or is coming out of college with an engineering degree, maybe not an ASHRAE member, but what kind of thoughts would you give to somebody just starting in our industry about making a difference?
Wow, there are so many different pathways that you can take to really make a difference in our industry. Through ASHRAE, that you could work at the local chapter, volunteer at the chapter levels, regional levels, or society. So dipping your toe in and volunteering, attending those local meetings and building the networks, and getting to know your fellow members, similar to what we're doing here today. Being able to talk and open up and make those connections, that can really lead you down different pathways and figure out exactly what you want to be doing for your career. So that would be my first level of advice.
Okay, so Nick, you go to an ASHRAE meeting somewhere and you see somebody that you don't know, they don't seem to be connected yet, and they ask you, Nick, what should I do? How can I make a difference in my career? What would you say to them?
Well, just you're in the right place. Keep coming. That's exactly it, because Steph mentioned it. Building the network is the key. We have a very, very small field of expertise, and getting to know the people, either locally, regionally, at society, that helps you with a lot of things and keeps your career moving. And then by knowing a lot of people, as soon as you see some new blood in there, you just tour them into the room and introduce them to people. That's how we create a very tight community that then will help sharing knowledge, good experiences, making links, introducing people to people. And it's the same thing locally. It's the same thing at chapters, same thing at region, and same thing at society. It's always the same pattern, just different people.
And And what I kind of share with people is if you have a passion for something, even remotely related to what we do, there's a place for you here. It doesn't have to be technical. It doesn't have to be personal. It doesn't have to be networking, but there's always that place. Okay. Now, Nick, I'm going to come to you with this one. And that is, can you think of someone else you saw in the industry who made a difference and what that watching them taught you?
Yes, well, I touched that subject just a little bit earlier, but my mentor is just an amazing person, and I feel like he's the best in what he do, and he's also the best at showing it, showing how to do it, not showing off, just showing how to do it and why we should do it. And when you look at him, you can't not follow him. It's impossible. You want to do the same thing. You want to be as appreciated as him. You want to do a difference as he does because he's doing it for the right reasons. And that's fuel for me. And I think that's fuel for a lot of people.
Okay, so he's doing the right things. What are some of the things that, not things he does, how he does them that inspire you?
Well, I think the best way to make sure people are convinced is by taking the time to explain and teach, and just not saying we have to do this, but engaging a conversation, explaining why we should do it and what are the good reasons to do it, and then it becomes obvious why you should do it. And by communicating as much as possible, touching as many people as possible, and taking the time to explain it, people are just joining in and want to do it also. And it's time consuming, but it's so more sustainable than just forcing your way in.
Yeah, forcing doesn't work all that well. Steph, can you think of a mentor and what he or she did to help inspire you?
Oh, absolutely. I think I mentioned it earlier as well. Just in college, we were assigned mentors. I was in a women in engineering program. Through that, we were assigned mentors. But since then, I've been able to seek out different mentors depending on which pathways I've been taking in my career or even in my personal life, and being able to find those people who are leaders in what I'm searching or aiming to do is just incredibly beneficial. Finding the different ways that they lead or manage projects or people is really inspiring, and I've learned so much and been able to adapt to my own and be flexible on my own scale, be able to try to use what they've done and implement some of the tools that they've taught me over the years. And a lot of times it's not, a really formal mentor and mentee relationship, but they do know that, I look up to them. They inspire me and others around them. And I think that's really a huge impact on me.
Fantastic, thanks. Okay, our second to last question, and that is, how has your involvement and your making a difference helped your company be better in some way? Steph, you want to go first?
Sure. Helping the company, really, first of all, I think building these networks, as we've described earlier today, being able to really find those key people if we're in need of a certain design that we haven't necessarily done before. I'm able to reach out to my ASHRAE contacts and be able to learn more about those designs or those systems and being able to include those within what we do. But as a company as a whole, I think really the personal and professional development, the leadership weekends that ASHRAE has, those have really impacted me personally. And I've been able to have that thrive through what I do on a daily basis at work.
Thank you very much. And Nick, how about your company? You're president and CEO. How's it get back to the business side and the impact your company has?
Well, I guess it's just following the footsteps that were laid ahead before me. and just following again the mentor and that mentality, that family type managing mentality in our office. But when I look at it, just getting involved in ASHRAE and getting involved in the community, teaching, giving back, getting involved on projects, on social projects that help really the community down there, doing some amazing project with people that are not exposed to that kind of project from time to time. I think that's the real deal, and that's when you do that and you don't expect anything back. That's when everything's coming back, actually. So I think we're passionate about what we do. We're passionate about what we are committed to, and ASHRAE is part of that. And what's coming back from ASHRAE is so more valuable than wherever we can put the time in. And I'm not putting that time in ASHRAE because I want something. I'm putting it there because I like it, and I get so much back professionally and personally. But when you look at the impact, it's a collateral damage that is very welcome.
Collateral building, perhaps. And well, while you were talking, Nick, I just thought about our mission, and it starts with to serve humanity. And you know, what can be a bigger difference maker than serving humanity? Okay. The final thing we're going to ask, Nick, you first. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share with our viewers about making a difference?
It started with very small things, and you know, when I look back, let's say I look back 20 years ago, the best move that I made was just accepting the invitation of a couple of people saying, well, you know what, you should come and see how you like that. It's fun. We're learning stuff. We're meeting people. And that was a monthly meeting at my local Montreal chapter of ASHRAE. And honestly, the best decision I took is going there that Monday night and meeting some people, because it changed my life. And I'm very happy about that, because it brought me, you know, at all sorts of places, all sorts of cities, and all sorts of committees and topic, and you know, it improved me as a person, not only as an engineer. So
Wow.
it's mainly it.
Okay, Steph, you get the last final words for our audience, please.
No pressure. Really, I think it's all about, you know, finding your passion. And really, as soon as you find your passion, it can take time to find that, and maybe those passions might change over the years depending on what you're involved in. But as soon as you're passionate about something, you're really going to put your all into it. And ASHRAE has so many different pathways that you can take to be able to find that passion and really explore it and implement everything that you've learned across the board. So making a difference, there's so many different ways that you can do that, and ASHRAE is here to help you.
Well, Steph, if there was any pressure there, it certainly wasn't shown. Steph and Nick, thanks so much for taking the time today. Audience, thanks for joining us. We hope you see that there are great ways to make a difference, to help the world, to serve humanity. And we hope to see you again next month in our member-to-member connection.